Welcome to another Game Toppers Kickstarter 3.0 live. And today I'm super pumped about this. Today we have a special guest with us that is going to talk about some of the things in the hobby that we love, games of course, and how we accessorize them. But we have with us Keagy of the Secret Cabal Gaming Podcast.
Hey now, everybody. And thank you, Berkey and Josiah, for having me on here today. I'm always happy to do stuff with you guys.
Well, it's a thrill, Jamie. We'll have a lot of people that'll start jumping in here, I think, in the chat. And so we'll give a little bit of time for people to jump in. Today, what we wanted to do is go through and again, go through some questions and answers for any of you have any questions, concerns, thoughts, feedback. We love that. I see we have Joseph is on the show. There we go. He's asking a question right off the bat. What are the dimensions of the cup holder?
Well, you got that information right on the top of your head, I'm sure.
And I usually do, but I do have a tape measure. And that question, it actually is answered in our facts. I might as well just answer it real quick, right?
Why not?
I already went there. Single cup holder, 6 inches in the width.
I think he's asking for the inside too, or for the acrylic.
So the inside is 5 by 5 1/4 on the single. The double is 11 by 5 1/4.
There you go.
There you go.
And I got to tell you, I've been using the new cup holders, the ones that collapse in. And
yes.
I love it because when I'm using, like before, we had those like metal sort of can-like type things, and storage was a little more difficult. Now with these ones that collapse, like I just kind of collapse them up, put them on the shelf, and whenever I need them, pull them right out. So they're awesome.
Cool. What Jamie's referring to is on our last Kickstarter. This is the double tray. These collapsible cup holders, they actually just flatten and then they can expand. So they ship really thin and you can transport them. You can still use them as a tray, put your laptop on. But like you said, when you expand these, there's so much versatility. They're dishwasher safe. You can put them in the, wash them. You can use this as a chip tray.
And you can put a coffee mug in them, which you could never do before.
Yeah, coffee mug, big water bottles. And then this thing, which is the coolest thing ever, these little coasters with our logo that are made of a similar rubberized material. You can put that in the bottom of the tray and have a total flat surface. I love these things. I just love them. And I even sent one your way, Jamie.
Oh, I didn't get it yet, but I'm excited to see it.
Well, we're going to go through and we're going to answer some questions. We're also going to talk a little bit with Jamie from the Secret Cabal Gaming Podcast. And Jamie, why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself for those that might not know who you are? I can't believe that they wouldn't know who you are, but
I'm world renowned, Berkey.
I know. That's what I said. It's like Steve Martin, Jamie Keagy.
That's right. Secret Cabal Gaming Podcast. This is our 10th year of doing our podcast. We talk about mostly board games on the main show, but we do weekly content. We have a role-playing game show. We have a miniatures game show that comes out every 3 months. We have Secret Cabal Express that talks about just whatever kind of comes up on our mind. So yeah, every Wednesday morning we put out a new audio podcast. We also do some video work here and there, video reviews, game lists, stuff like that. So yeah, we've been doing it for 10 years now. There's 9 of us on the team that just love to talk about games, just share our passion with everybody and make sure that everybody knows about this hobby and can find stuff that they're going to enjoy with their families and friends. And it's also a lot about entertainment too. We make jokes, we tell funny stories, and we go at each other. So we have a good time.
It's by far one of the favorite podcasts that I've listened to. And I remember when I first got a hold of it, it was the Secret Cabal and it was Blue Peg, Pink Peg. And man, I binge listened to those episodes about 5 years ago. I was doing stonemasonry work, and man, I would listen to those shows, and just always had so much fun listening to you guys. You guys bring such great energy to everything you do.
Well, thank you, Berkey. I really appreciate that.
And we've had the opportunity and the pleasure to meet so many of the founders, Tony Topper and Chris Miller and Brian and Brian Bender from the Lords of the Dungeon, your role-playing podcast.
Absolutely.
That's an award-winning podcast.
Yeah. 3-time Golden Geek Award winning. That's
That's a fun show, though. I really enjoy the camaraderie, and Steve, of course, and Don. Mm-hmm. We've had opportunity to get together conventions, and it's been so much fun being able to hang with you guys a little bit. And I think we're all really itching to get back together and hang out again, right?
Oh my gosh. Listen, this past year has been demoralizing for a lot of us for a lot of different reasons. And I'm telling you that now that we're seeing that light at the end of the tunnel, it's amazing. It feels so great. We've gotten all of us, all the hosts here have finally gotten our vaccinations, and we're 2 weeks past our second dose. So we started our weekly game night up again. We just had our first, public game night the other night. We didn't get everybody together. We just had a little small group to go out to a new place, Game Haven here in York, PA, a little game cafe that's awesome. And we played some games last night. And I got to tell you, it was amazing seeing all of our friends that we used to game with every week and every other week at these places finally in the same room again together, feeling comfortable and sharing the hobby again. It's amazing how things are getting better now. And these conventions coming up, Origins is coming up, Gen Con is coming up right about the same time. I am chomping at the bit to get to these conventions and see everybody that isn't in my immediate area, right? Like you guys and, Rodney and Marty and Tony from Rolling Dice and Taking Names and the Dice Tower crew and just everybody. I love them all. And the conventions are where we get to see our summer camp friends is what we used to call them. Well, now it's going to be our Halloween fall friends in October.
Well, I'm like you. Origins is one of my favorite big conventions. Gen Con stresses me out, honestly.
Me too.
I like to go, but it always stresses me out. But Origins, I don't know what it is about that place. We'd have the Cabal meetup, which is always super great. We could be out on the deck there at Gordon Bruch and all of that. But I don't know, just love that show and the feel of it. It doesn't feel so hyper big. But you can find a place to go sit down and play board games and all that kind of stuff.
Origins has always been our favorite convention because it's the one we've gone to the longest. Gen Con, obviously has always been there. And we never, years and years and years ago, when we were choosing what to do, when we were first getting into the idea of going to conventions, Origins was a little bit closer than Gen Con. And that's the first one we went to. I think this year will be probably the 16th year that we've been going, but we missed a couple years. Of course, we missed last year. Right. And we missed a year at one point because I bought a house and I was like, guys, I can't make it this year. And everybody else just didn't bother making the plans because I guess I'm the plan maker of the group. So everybody just stayed home. But so we've been going to Origins for a long time now. And like you said, that all of those things are the exact reasons that I love Origins so much because it's smaller. It's not as busy. It's easy to get around everything. All of the people that are at Gen Con are pretty much always at Gen Con. It's just a more intimate affair. And I love the city of Columbus. Nothing against Indy. Indy's fun too. And there's a lot of cool things there as well. But man, something about that area of Columbus, Ohio, it just has so many great restaurants. It's got the North Market. It's got just cool things all around, nice little brew pubs and places. And a lot of people, when I look at a convention, it's not always about the games, like going to the dealer hall and getting some games and playing games. I like to experience the city and all the people that you get to meet at these places too. And Origins is just the easiest to do that. And I love it.
Yeah, I agree. Joshua says, what is the purpose of these conventions? And, if you after the first convention I ever went to was Gen Con back when it was about 45,000 people. That was on Josiah's graduation present from high school. Him and his best friend are gamers, and his dad, we took off. And that's when I was exposed to the greater hobby, if you will. Met Tom Vassell, played Nothing Personal and El Grande with him, and had this moment that was really special. My eyes were open to all of the possibilities that I didn't even know existed in board gaming, and that was only 7 years ago or whatever. But it's the convention cycle. I mean, it has so much. It's about the new games. It's about demonstrating product. It's a trade show in a sense. But on the other hand of it, it's, for me anyway, it's about relationship building. And when some of my favorite episodes of the Secret Cabal are after the convention and before the convention, because you guys are so jacked about going to the convention and what you're going to do, and it's all that. And then after the convention, we did this, and you got to hear this story, and it's the best.
It is. And conventions are, to answer the question, what is the purpose of convention? That's exactly right. It's not always about just going there to get the brand new games that just released at Gen Con specifically. They always have the new games that they've released. I mean, yeah, it's great. You can go there and you can get the game a month earlier than you could anywhere else, but you can get it later if you really want to. So that's not really the purpose. It's all about going to a place where everybody there is under the same umbrella, right? We're all there because we share this love of this hobby. And you can find so many friends there. Of course, like I say, our group, we decided to go out as a group. We always take like a couple cars out. There's like 8 of us, and we stay, back in those days, we'd have one hotel room with like 8 guys laying on the floor and sleeping on, inflatable mattress stuff. We're a little bit different now. We get 2 rooms with 4 guys in each, but still, that's part of the fun too. But, so you bring a lot of your friends too, but if you're not bringing a whole bunch of friends, when you get to these conventions, friends are there. Because, one thing I've learned doing this podcast, and it's much easier, because I'm experiencing it more because I go to a lot of conventions, is that just you share this love of this hobby. So that immediately makes you friends with the people that are there, right? Like you go up to somebody, you have something to talk about immediately. And I can't tell you, I mentioned, I love to go and see you guys and the Dice Tower people and Rodney and all those people. It's not just that. It's all the people there, like all the listeners of the podcast and people that we just randomly meet. I've made so many lifelong now, like for the rest of my life, I'll be friends with these people solely because I met them at Origins. I happened to bump into them and we played a game together, and then we played another game together. And then the next year we met up again. We played again. Now we talk throughout the year, via Facebook Messenger or text message or whatever. And they've become friends, even though they're in Michigan, they're in Washington, they're in Oregon, they're in California, they're in Texas. Doesn't matter where. It's a place that we can all come together and meet physically and make these friendships that last forever. And that's what is most important to me about going to Origins and all these other conventions. And of course, going to Hot Chicken Takeover and getting chicken and waffles. That's right too.
I love that place. Victor Cintron says, love the podcast. Even my 11-year-old daughter loves to hear.
Oh, that's great to hear. I apologize if not every single second of it is great for an 11-year-old, but, thank you very much. I'm glad you love it, Victor.
I agree. I had the opportunity to meet Brian Bender and Brian, the founder. What's Brian, the founder's last name again?
Brian Moore.
More. Does he still live in Guam, or is he back in the States now?
He was living in Grenada and he moved to California. And actually he hasn't been on the show for quite a while now because he got a job that was really taking over his life. He couldn't do the show as much as he could at before. Yeah. So yeah, he moved back to California, and I believe he's actually coming home for a while right now, back to Pennsylvania. So he's kind of moving around right now. So again, it's tough for him to keep the podcast schedule because it is a schedule. We got to make sure that every other week we're sitting there for a few hours recording the show. But yeah, he's doing well for himself, and I'm really happy that he's doing.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, that spoke to your point, though. I met them the first time in my Viking costume.
That's right.
And we just became friends just immediately. And excuse me. I see we are having a few questions. We want to answer these questions, but we want to take just a little bit of time to talk with Jamie at the beginning of the show here. I know Jamie's got a few schedule things too, and then we're going to answer all of your questions. So please keep them coming. If we haven't reached out, and go ahead and resend it. We'll do our best to get back to everything. One of the things I wanted to talk about with Jamie is early on when Game Toppers was just a dream, I actually sent a prototype version of our topper to Jamie, and kind of as a sponsorship agreement we were working out with the show at the time. And that was the beginning of more of a business relationship with Jamie. We had more of a friendship relationship prior to that. But Jamie seemed intrigued about our product. And when he saw it in person, thought, this is something I think we'd like to get behind. But you want to kind of tell people a little bit about your experience, Jamie, with Game Toppers and how that all evolved?
Absolutely. Yeah. We, like you said, we were friends prior to this. We saw each other at conventions. We hung out and we had a great time at the conventions. But you came to me with this idea before any of this. You said it was just a dream. And you explained to me everything you were doing to plan this product that you had. And initially, it's like one of those things where like, oh, you're just giving me the pitch and stuff, and I'm listening. But the more I listened to you talk about it, and the more the passion that you exhibited for this product, I was intrigued. Like, you were telling me about, the manufacturing processes that you're looking into, the different kinds of materials that you're going to use, and how much you want to make sure that this is actually a good product and not just a cheap product, if you know what I mean. Like, because you can do game tables super cheap, right? And you want to make sure that this is a quality product. And that's the thing that really got me. And then we talked about it some more after the fact, after you started getting some of the prototypes made. And you sent me a Watson that was a prototype. And I honestly still have it on my table over here. And like I say, I have the quote on the on your Kickstarter right now that says I have 2 of them, and they look like they just came out of the packaging. And I use these like crazy. I use them for all my video production. I use them for gaming all the time. Whenever I'm, setting up games and stuff just to learn. I'm playing miniatures game on them. I'm playing role-playing games on them every week. So every day I'm using these things. They look like they just came out of the packaging. Even the prototype that you sent me still looks like it's brand new. That's how good all of the quality of the materials and the manufacturing you've done here. And that's one of the things that's really important to me about, obviously you're a sponsor of ours. So is Restoration Games, Stronghold Games used to be. And one of the things that from the very beginning of our show is I knew that eventually we would get sponsors, and that'd be something that would help us continue doing the show, justifying being able to get all the equipment and all that stuff. But I always want to make sure that we believe in the sponsors that we have on our show. We love the products they have. I'm not going to go on the show and just say, I love this thing, even though it kind of sucks, And when you sent me that prototype, and after all the stuff you said, I said, I know that this is somebody that I want to work with for real. And ever since then, it's been, I don't know how many years now since your very first Kickstarter, before your very first Kickstarter. To this day, I still think it's the best gaming accessory I've ever gotten. And they're beautiful. Everybody that comes over and plays on them, it's wonderful. And they all just love to have them. Don was just asking me, which one of those you got? And he's like looking at it and he's like trying to figure it out. And it's great stuff. And I could not recommend them higher than I do. It's so great.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I felt the same way. It's like, we want people that really do believe in what we're doing when we're sponsoring them. We're not looking just for paid voices. We want people that share the same passion for the hobby. And then likewise, they people that, like yourself, I trust you, Jamie. When you say stuff, I know you're not just shilling a product. And I know people a lot of times will judge motives when you're doing a review or something like that. And I never really understand that. I kind of get it, but it's like, I get it. But most of us I'm not going to tell you a game is good if I really don't like it. I'm going to tell you, it didn't quite. I might be kind, and I might not say anything, but I'm generally not going to be real harsh about something. But at the same point, I'm not going to lie about it.
Right.
And I've always appreciated that about you. You're real transparent with people.
And I try to. That's something that I strive to be, right? Because I mean, none of us are getting rich off this stuff. This is this is board games, right? Like we're not getting rich off of board games. We're not Alan Moore, or Donald X. Vaccarino making Dominion and Ticket to Ride. So it's we do this because we love to do it, and I don't want to lie to people that are listening to our show. The listeners to our show are my friends and family, right? Like all of them. And I have to face them at these conventions. And I want everything that I say to be honest and transparent. And you're sponsoring our show. And I'm going to say that I like your product. And that's why I want to make sure that all the sponsors that we have are something that I believe in, so that I can be honest when I say, I love this stuff. And Game Toppers, I love them.
Well, I think one thing that was kind of cool about our relationship, when I say Joshua Carver says, how did you guys meet for the first time? And my recollection is that it was first at Dice Tower Con and then that subsequent Origins. Is that your memory?
Yes, I think it was Dice Tower Con. It was the first Dice Tower Con I was at. Where was that location? I forget. It was one of the smaller locations.
Yeah, it was the one right before the Crebe Royale, wasn't it?
Yeah, right. Yes,
the DoubleTree.
Mm-hmm. And I was probably introduced. I don't remember who it was, but somebody introduced me to you, and we hung out. And we talked a little bit, but so I think it was like we met, and then we just started seeing each other at the conventions more and more often, and then we just became friends, right?
That's about when we first started our board game theater, and we did the Sheriff of Nottingham, and we did a few of those episodes. You're
always running around in your Viking costume, your king costume, and whatever. Yeah. Nobody could miss you.
That's true. Now I'm just the bearded wonder, the old bearded wonder. All I have to do is jiggle my beard, and my grandchildren will laugh. So I still have an audience. That was always a great time. I think one of the things that developed as we developed the business relationship was I had some products that were synergistic to some of the things you were doing in the hobby. And you're an amazing graphic design artist. I mean, Jamie is an artist. I mean, he is a musician. He's a podcast personality, a recording artist. I mean, you've got a lot of things going in your skill set, and you designed the War Cobra Secret Cabal gaming mat. And it became one of the mats that we offered in our selection because there was a lot of your followers that really wanted a really nice Cabal mat, right?
Yep.
And then your fact, I believe it is it June 2nd, your Kickstarter for your podcast is starting?
That's right. Yep. Our 10th anniversary and our 5th Kickstarter is launching on June 2nd next month. And yep, it'll run for a month, and that's how we're going to support the show for another year, keep us in business, making sure that our equipment stays up to date and in working order, and any kind of malfunctions, we can fix it up. Anything that we need to make sure that the show keeps going for another year, and keeping that weekly content going, and keeping the video production happening and that kind of stuff. So yes, that's going to be launching on June 2nd.
Well, Smash-O-Matic says we need more Cabal mats. Well, we have a deal for you. Our $520,000 stretch goal is about to be unlocked. We're almost at 500, guys. We can do this. Let's do it today. When we push through that thing, all of a sudden the new Secret Cabal Crest mat is going to be available in all 4 of our main sizes. We might unlock some additional ones, but the Adler, 3 foot by 4 foot, the Watson, 38 inch by 60, the Holmes, the 3 foot by 4 foot, and our big dog Mycroft for all you big Warhammer players.
I'm one of them.
By 6 foot, yeah. Age of Sigmar. We're going to be making those available, and Jamie and I have talked a lot about different things, and it's always been in my heart to help the Secret Cabal, not just from being a sponsor, but to honestly help the show. What can we do in a small way? We're just a little thing here, but what can we do to help bring revenue? And I mean, it's a big deal running a show like yours, and to be able to do it full time. There's so much you have to do. You couldn't do it part time without driving yourself nuts almost, right?
Yeah, it does take a lot of my day. That's for sure. A lot of my week to go through all this stuff. So yeah, all the support we can get is assuredly appreciated.
Well, and it takes a lot of resources, and what a lot of times people don't realize. I know you offer a lot of things as a reward to people, because that's kind of the mindset of Kickstarter and all that. And that's wonderful. But I know you don't want to be a store. You just want to create content. Mm-hmm. And our thought together was, well, what can Game Toppers do to come alongside the Secret Cabal? What can we do to help? And I pitched you some ideas. Well, what if I got you some mats? I don't need to make any money on them, and you can offer them to the Cabalists, and that'll help generate some revenue, but give your fans something they really would love and remember you by, and be important too. And so you've developed several of these mats, and I talked to you just recently where so go ahead and maybe explain what you're going to do on your campaign with this.
Well, we're gonna, as well as the Game Topper mats that we had last year. Last year, when in our campaign, we had the crest mat, but it was only in the Watson. This year, you're adding all the different sizes as well. And if you back with Game Toppers, you can get them there. And next month, you can still get them in our campaign as well. So we're going to have all 4 different sizes in our campaign as well. So you have 2 opportunities to get them as well. So, and we're also talking about maybe doing a smaller play mat that's got a different design on it for our campaign. And I'm really excited about that, because I love those. Playing a lot of Marvel Champions these days, I could use a nice little play mat.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and your designs are always cool. They're always innovative and fun. And you like new stuff. We all like new stuff. One of the things we're going to do in our campaign, once this stretch goal is unlocked, we're going to give a portion back to the Secret Cabal. If you buy any of our packages, the Adler Elementary package, the Scotland Yard package, the Baker Street package with the homes, or the Reichenbach Falls package, and one of your selections is a Secret Cabal mat, whether it's the Crimson Red with the War Cobra, or the new Secret Cabal crest mat that you hadn't been able to get before. That now is available to you, and we're going to actually kick back some money right to the Cabal just to help the Cabal. I'm thrilled to help the show, Jamie, and I'm thrilled to help the Cabalist, because they love your stuff, and you put a Cabal mat. I mean, these mats are awesome, right?
Yeah, I love them. I got to tell you, like the mats that you guys make, I've had plenty of neoprene mats in my day, and these are always the best ones. The stuff that you make, fantastic and perfect. And neoprene, it's the best surface to play any board game on. A lot of times they'll have the poker felt and that kind of stuff, and that's nice. But man, when you play on neoprene, you don't want to go back. And I love to do designs. Like you said earlier, I'm a graphic designer, and I just love to design things. And we created the crest for last year's campaign, and I just love the way it looks. When I walk past it in my game room over here, and I look down and I see that nice big crest with the cross swords, like it's makes me so excited.
Well, and what people don't know about that there was a lot of design that went in that had a little bit of a Norse theme around the edge with the rope. That it's got a really cool background that's got kind of a grunge little scratch mark almost into the background, and then that crest sitting in the center. It's so cool. And some people are like, well, there's something in the middle, but normally you have a board that goes over a lot of times the center, and it creates this, and the richness of that blue It's really special. There's a couple comments here. Maui Chris, for instance, said the Game Toppers mat that we got from the Secret Cabal Kickstarter is incredible. And
yeah, I appreciate that, man.
Snatch-O-Matic
That's it's good stuff.
says the War Cobra mat I have is great. It's just a great play surface. Anyone on the fence should buy one.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes. Thomas says, I want a play mat with an image of Chris Crooked Shelf with acrony.
Yeah, that's for those who don't know about that. Chris from our show, he put up some shelves in his office space, and they're those shelves that you screw into the wall, and there's no supports on them. They're just kind of floating off of the wall. And he thought it was a good idea to put his Anachrony collector's edition, which weighs like 50 pounds, up on top of this thing alongside a Tricarion special or a collector's edition, which is another 50 pounds. He overdid the weight, and it broke the wall, and the whole thing is sitting at like an angle sliding downwards, and he's like, that'll be fine. So he took pictures of it and shared it, and yeah, it don't look good. It's gonna go any day now.
Well, I know you've had an intimate exposure with a lot of our mats, and when I say intimate, you take these mats to the shower with you.
Yes, I did one time. I took it in the shower with me, and that's because so somebody spilled something on my Game Topper mat. I don't know, a glass of wine, a glass of beer, or something like that, and I was like, all right, I got to get this cleaned off. So I messaged you and I said, Berkey, how do you clean these? What's the right way to clean these? And you said, you could just throw them you can like scrub them with soap and just rinse them off, or you can, put them in I think you said you could put them in the washing machine. Is that right?
If you use it on a cold, gentle cycle, but never with hot, and we highly discourage putting it in a dryer with high heat. Right. It's rubber and it can shrink. And you're going to get more wear and tear on it if you put it in a washing machine. So spot washing is always the best. But
right. So you told me that, and I was like, all right, well, I try. This thing is a Mycroft, right? This is a giant mat. This is bigger than me. And like, so I'm like, what am I going to do with this thing? I'm like trying to drag it around the house. I'm trying to and I'm like, I'm just going to put this in the tub. So I go upstairs to my bathtub, and I'm like, well, right there's the shower. I just got in the shower with it and just held it up and scrubbed it. It was not a pretty sight. Nobody was there to see it, and I'm happy. But then, like an idiot, I go and tell the entire world that I did it. So yes, I took a shower with my Mycroft gaming mat in the past, and I will tell you this: it's clean as a whistle. It was great. All I had to do was scrub it down with some soap, and everything's great. Went right back on the table.
Well, they're polyester tops, so you can handle it like any other fabric. And Dawn dishwashing soap really does wonder on stains that are greasy, ketchup, mustard, things of that nature. Maui Chris says, laugh out loud, I'd buy a Steve art table mat.
That's for people who want to be punished every time they go in their game room and look at the table. Yeah, a few years ago when I wrote a book about role-playing games, and I asked Steve to do all the illustrations in it, knowing Steve is not, the greatest artist in the world, but that's part of the fun of it, right? So yeah, I have quite a few pieces of artwork that Steve has done for the book, beholders and mind flayers and all kinds of crazy D&D monsters. And last year in our Kickstarter, we had a series of stickers and lapel pins that were all based on Steve's artwork. So if somebody would really, really, really like to have a giant, poorly drawn beholder on their table, maybe.
I think it's awesome. Because didn't you do some Steve art T-shirts or something?
Yes. Yeah, we have a Redbubble website. Redbubble does, print on demand T-shirts. And if you go to Redbubble and search the Secret Cabal, you can see a bunch of T-shirts with Steve's artwork on them. We have the Minotaur sitting on the toilet and the genie coming out of the lamp.
That's hilarious. Pasha says, will there be an option for local pickup to save on shipping? It's yes, absolutely. You just contact us at support@gametoppersllc.com. We'll be happy to work something out. If we just have a minor handling fee to do it that way, and it has to be done during our business hours, Monday through Friday, generally before 4 o'clock. But we'd be happy to work with you. So you just email us, support at game when that fulfillment time is ready, and we'll be happy to work with you. Yeah, I think you own a lot of our mats, and you've seen all the different artists that we've worked with. I think you don't have our Cthulhu mat yet, or the pirate mat yet. I think
I haven't gotten those two yet, and I got to tell you, particularly that pirate mat. Oof, that thing is amazing looking. I really want that one because I could even play my my Dreadfleet and Manowar on that thing. It'll look great.
When we opened it up, Josiah went. I remember when he first saw our Viking mat, and we rolled it out, and he was like, "I want it on my wall." I mean, he just fell in love with it, and it was the same type of reaction when we rolled out that pirate mat. It was so breathtaking. There was a couple little Illustrator flaws in the actual printing that we were able to rectify actually after the fact, but we didn't even care. It looked so awesome. It was like, oh,
I particularly love the Great Wall mat, the one that's by Vincent Dutray.
Yes,
man, that thing is so amazing. And Vincent Dutray, he's one of my favorite game artists out there. Well, artists out there, obviously, because he doesn't just do game art, but a lot of his stuff is game art, a lot of Dungeons and Dragons stuff, does a lot of board game stuff. But this one is, it's got the Great Wall concept. It's got the various characters across it. And one of the reasons I love his art style is that, most artists today, they do digital artwork, right? They're using one of the drawing pads on the computer and that kind of stuff. This guy does everything by hand. He paints and he draws by hand
on canvas.
There is a difference when you look at the art done on digitally and you look at Vincent Dutray's art. There is a big difference. And when you look at it on this giant mat, and here's the other thing I love about the mats is that you get a lot of mats and things that are printed on that neoprene. And it's like fuzzy. It's a little out of focus. It's not the greatest of quality. Yours, it's spot on quality. I mean, when you look at that Vincent Dutray mat, you can get real close down there to all those characters, and you can see the detail in the art that he's done. And man, it is just gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
That's my favorite.
When we had the Roman mat by Yaroslav, who did our Viking. He did our Scythe-inspired resource mat, which is crazy off the hook, gorgeous. When he did our Foundations of Rome, or the mat based on the artwork from Foundations of Rome by Arcane Wonders, the Emerson Matsuuchi game, we worked out an agreement with Arcane Wonders to make a bunch of them for their Kickstarter because they liked the quality of our mats and wanted to be partnering with Game Toppers, and we wanted to partner with them, obviously. But we made it in all of our other sizes. And the theme, it's like what you talk about with your role playing. The theme just drips out of these mats. So you play, we played Tribune and Concordia on the Rome mat. And it was just like, you just feel like you're there. You got the Colosseum, you got the Colossus, you've got the aqueduct in the back, and you can't stop looking at it almost. And yet it doesn't mess with the game. You still are able to, our art assets are generally, the palette is fairly neutral. We usually keep the art assets around the edge of the mat, so the center is also generally free. The Foundations of Rome has a little bit more going on in the bottom, but it's just so fun to play on an environment, right?
For sure. That's Rome overload right there.
What's your favorite mat?
Well, I think it's probably currently the Great Wall mat is my favorite. I also, weirdly enough, I've been using just the plain wood grain lately. Like I put that one down in the past couple weeks when we've been gaming. I've been using that. It's not like a, like a painting or like thematic. But it makes my table look like a wooden table, but it's still neoprene. I'm loving that one as well, just because sometimes I like to go back and forth. Like you were mentioning earlier, some people don't like to have the big things in the middle, and if you put a board over it, it's fine. But if you're playing a card game, some of that kind of gets in the way. So having the multiple mats, I can kind of jump back and forth between which ones I use based on the game I'm playing. And lately, we've been playing a lot of the card game stuff. So the wood grain mat, putting that out is just perfect because it's a great neutral surface. But then when you leave the table and you just kind of come in the room and you looks like a nice big wooden table over there from across the room.
It's so funny you mentioned print quality, because we go through a lot of processes that we don't talk a lot about to make sure that our mats are sized right, that they don't have shrinkage issues, that all of these processes to get the right kind of heat sublimation printing, it costs extra money and extra time to do it. Also, that they're 3 millimeter thick and stitched edge. These are all premium features that take it up a notch, and that's why our mats, are what we charge for them. But I've in the past, I've owned tons of little 1.5. They call them 2 millimeter mats, but they're really 1.5, and they crinkle, the edges fray. I've paid more money for those cheaper mats with lesser quality than what we charge for our mats.
Yeah.
But it's like, to speak to the print quality, on our first Kickstarter, we had a blackjack mat. We still have a couple of them in our clearance store. Gamers don't tend to buy those as much. We're probably going to bring those to Amazon or something when we get into that type of home casino market. It was a great mat. But the background was intentionally, the wood grain was a little blurry on purpose because of the other art assets that were supposed to pop on the front. But on one corner of the mat, there was a water stain that was an art asset. But it looked so real that we took all of the blackjack art off of it, but that water stain art asset didn't get removed accidentally, okay? And we printed these wood grain mats for the first generation. This is way back in 2017. Well, people would buy those mats, and then they would call us and say, my mat is stained. I've been scrubbing on it, and I can't get it off. I said, it's not a stain. It's an art asset, and that's an intentional thing that was put on there for theme. And nonetheless, there's a few of those in the clearance store if you want them, and they have that art asset on them.
To answer that question, he was talking about the 2 millimeter versus the 3 millimeter. I have a very specific situation where I can answer that question, because the very first Cabal mat you sent me, Berkey, was a prototype of when you were originally doing the mats, when your first Kickstarter, before your first Kickstarter. And you sent me one that was 2 millimeter, and it didn't have the stitched edge. And it was, like I said, just a prototype, because everything beyond that had the stitched edge and was 3 millimeter. Yep. And I still use it because actually I think it's the only Watson of that Cabal red that I have. So it's still on the table sometimes. Yep. And there is a very distinct difference. I know that it's a millimeter difference. You say it's a 1.5 millimeter difference, right? But even though it's that tiny little bit, there's a feel difference. There really is. Like, when you talk about like picking up cards off the table, like the little bit of give that the rubber other side, the non-stick rubber, the non-skid rubber on the other side, like there is a difference in picking up cards. Now, it's not, if you had a 2 millimeter, you might not think about it, but when you go to the 3 millimeter, you're like, yeah, I see a difference. And that stitched edge is a huge benefit too, because I've had many, many mats and play mats and things that didn't have that. The edges start the fabric on top of the rubber starts to separate at the corners, right? And the stitched edge stops that from happening. So, like I said, all the mats that I have that have the stitched edge, I've had them for years now. The original ones that I had for years now, they're still like new at this point.
Well, and I think too, from a memory standpoint, the heft is a little bit heavier, that they maintain their shape much better. If you were to fold a 3, and they're actually like 3.3 millimeter versus the 1.5, so it's almost double. They're heavier. The friction footprint is better, so that's part of that. But the mats that all have a memory. Rubber has a memory. With those thinner ones, if you were to fold them, for instance, they crease easier and get a new memory, whereas these don't nearly as much. I mean, you can crumple them, and if you put them in the wrong shape for a long time, it can develop a memory, but generally you can steam that out of it. But our mats, generally, if you just roll them, they will always lay flat.
Yeah, think about it like this. I have a copy of Alien Encounters, the deck building game, right? And there's a neoprene mat inside that box, and it's small enough to fit in the box if you roll it up. So mine's rolled up inside the box. Whenever I get that out, it's a little bit bowed and crinkly at the edges, right? And that's that thin style mat. You know, these thick ones, that don't happen. I got mine rolled up, and I got it in my Lord Burkton mat rack. You're right in there. When you roll them right out, like they just lay flat perfectly. There's never a wrinkle in them.
How do you like your mat racks?
Oh, I love them. They are great. And as a matter of fact, I have them sitting around the rooms, and they actually look cool too, because I have all the different, colored mats. So there's like this, I don't know, up against this one wall, there's some color across the side there. But for years, I had mats from, of course, my Game Topper mats. I had, Rising Sun play mat. I have this and that play mat for Mare Nostrum, all these different play mats and things. And they're just lying around. They're up on tops of shelves. They're rolled up in corners and things like that. I have nowhere to go with these things. And these, I have the Lord Burkton, and I have the smaller one, which is, what's the smaller one called?
The JJ Burkton.
JJ Burkton. I have both of those. And now I just have them all kind of lined up right across here. And particularly the Lord Burkton, what I love about it is it has those metal bars across the front. And you can drape smaller mats across them. And that's where I have my smaller mats. I got my Mare Nostrum mat. I got my Marvel United. I got my Space Explorers mat kind of just draped across the front. So whenever I need them, they're right there.
Yeah, we have ours right here too with our Blood Rage, and I got my
Mare Nostrum mat.
Mare Nostrum Dice Tower. Yeah, I people that have actually gotten those have really liked them, and they're kind of a premium item, but it's that 3/4 inch heavy duty MDF countertop type of MDF that's powder coated. And we've had just really good luck with that. And those were that actual same material that we're using for our new dining gaming covers. And our dining gaming covers, I wish I would have titled them not dining cover, but dining gaming covers, because you take the end piece and put it on your topper, and it's a perfect DM shelf for playing setting up maybe you got your Dogmite DM screen, and you need some space for your dice tower and your books and those kind of things. Or Josiah uses it as a workstation a lot of time with his laptop computer, and it works great, right?
Yeah, it's nice because it's up a little higher, so you're not kind of like reaching into the vault for keyboard and stuff. It's also, I think, really great for miniature gaming. So I'm really excited to have that because it gives you a little extra space. Sometimes if you have the Watson or Holmes, you want a little more surface area to play miniatures, and you can easily just roll a mat out on top of the dining cover too. So you could have miniatures on top that's a little bit higher. So if you're standing, things like that.
That's a great point, because when Josiah, we use the Watson most of the time, but had we had the dining cover at that time, I have another table that my dad built me, our old dedicated table. We always play on the Game Topper now. We hardly ever play on that. So it's a beautiful table, but we love our Game Topper. It's weird. But if we would have had, he got War Room, that great big round map, and it's huge, right? If we had had the dining cover on the Watson, that would have been a full 44 by 68 inches, where we could have put that on top of that for that, where we needed that bigger space. So it can be another gaming table in a sense, and you can still roll out your game mat on top of it. Well, I think we're going to go on to some question and answers here. We've got Jamie's been with us and gracious to spend his time. I think we're going to let him go. I know he's got some other things he's got to get done, but just real quickly, I want to thank Jamie for all of the support for the Game Toppers. You've been so gracious to us, and we so appreciate just all the kind words and the heartfelt things you say about Game Toppers. It means the world to us.
Well, Berkey, I appreciate you saying that. And listen, like I said in the beginning here, you're a sponsor of ours, and I always want to support things that I feel great about. And ever since that very beginning, when you were so passionate about, this is the designs we're coming up with, these are the manufacturers we're working at, this is the materials we're looking to make sure that we make the best product ever since then, and the complete follow through ever since, to make sure that every single product is good and is the best quality possible. And not only that, something else that's really important to me, because with sponsors in the past, it hasn't been this way. Your communication with your customers and bending over backwards just to make sure that everybody's happy, every single customer is happy, and doing everything you can to make sure that you stand behind your own product. That's something that is to be respected. And everybody should know that that's the way it is. When you buy a Game Topper product, you're getting that too. You're getting that customer support, and you care about every customer that you have. And that's something that I admire. And I love the product, I love the company, and I love you guys. So I'm happy to say everything beautiful about you guys, because it's all 100% true. And I want to thank you for all the support you've given us over the past years. It's absolutely generous and wonderful of you, and it helps keep us in business as well as a podcast.
Well, and speaking of that, we've been able, because it's so simple for us to do this alongside what we do with some of the products you're offering that we're helping you with, the Cabalist game mats. And you're going to have an opportunity, if you're just tuning in, if you select any of our packages and you get a Secret Cabal mat as a selection, you're able to, we're going to be giving back to the Secret Cabal, but we're going to handle all the fulfillment. So it'll go through our channel. And if you buy product through Jamie's Kickstarter coming up on June 2nd, which I'd highly recommend, if you have an option to buy it from Jamie or buy it from me, buy it from Jamie. He'll make more money buying it from Jamie. And I'm totally okay with that. We're still going to produce it. We're still going to fulfill it. So you're going to get our care to make sure you get it in a timely manner. It's going to be there. Jamie knows. I don't think we've had any problems with any of the fulfillment of hundreds of mats that have been sent out for you.
Never once. Never once.
And because even though it's not a profit center for me, I care about that being delivered just as much as anything else. And I just would highly encourage you. I love the Cabalists. It's a massive undertaking for them to do this show. They keep upping their game with all kinds of new content, and he's always striving for excellence, lest they be cowardly manure.
Well, thank you, Perky. That's just beautiful of you to say, and I appreciate that. Like, you don't even know how much I appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate you, and we do love you too. And that the relationship to me is so much more important than the transaction. And that's the way I feel about our backers. When you guys are backing us, the relationship that we're beginning, that means more to me than the transaction. The transaction's needed so that we can do what we do. Right. But the relationship, in my mind, is what really matters. So that's why we work so hard to do what we do. And we're human beings. We make mistakes. I have emotions. I can, maybe I don't answer something correctly or whoever, whatever. If we have a product failure or something we weren't aware of. I mean, the bottom line is, what do you do to make it right?
Right.
And that's our commitment to our customers. And I know that's Jamie's feeling with his show. So if you could support the Secret Cabal Gaming Podcast upcoming Kickstarter and get that baby launching, those first 3 days are so important to just go big.
Yeah.
And then I got to be honest with you, the middle of the campaign, it drives you nuts because everything just like
does.
Oh, you don't know. Oh.
You just see that line flatten, and you're like, oh, now I got to wait another 25 days to see something
I
happen.
hope the end will be good. Oh, I do believe I'm in Kansas. I do believe in spooks. I do. What'd you go and do that for? Yeah. Well, again, Jamie, thanks so much. All the best of luck to your campaign. Anything we can do to help, please let us know. And we'll be right beside you promoting it. And thank you all Cabalists that joined this show today. This is awesome comments. We haven't even been able to catch them all just because we wanted to get some time with Jamie here. But we'll go through our question and answers now. But Jamie, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm always happy to do it, and we'll talk soon.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care.
I just love that guy. I love all the founders. I love listening to Tony Topper's news section. The most cathartic thing I do in my life is mow my lawn. I love mowing my lawn. I love working out in the garden and doing stuff outside. The Secret Cabal Gaming Podcast is not for the faint of heart. This is a 3-hour podcast, but it's so awesome. There's so many things. I mean, there's talking about the experiences they have together. Then they talk about all these games in depth. These people are expert gamers. They have great insights. They'll tell you what they think. And Don, I mean, that guy is brilliant. Chris just loves all kinds of games and Funko toys. And I mean, it's just great listening to Tony and his words of wisdom, and I just love the show. So if you haven't heard it before, go give it a check, see if you like it. But I put that baby on my headphones because I have 11 acres here. I mow about 3.5, and I put on my headphones, and it's one of those times where I just get so happy and so great to have them on the show. So let's get to some questions.
All right. Try to rapid fire these.
Thank you, everybody, for being patient with us. I know there's a few there, and I was like, okay, I didn't want to interrupt Jamie, but I want to get to these questions.
Derek asked, when is Kickstarter 4.0 tentatively planned?
Oh, the world may never know. How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pop? 1, 2, 3. That really dates me, I know. That's still in the works. 2 of the big projects that we're in development on right now. In fact, this afternoon, we have another conference call with our engineers over the center support system for the new leg kit for the Mycroft. The Mycroft is such an awesome topper. People that like really big games, I love the Watson personally. The Mycroft's too big for me. And I have about 800 games. I pretty much play all of them on the Watson. But for those that really want extra space, they're playing big miniature games like Warhammer and Star Wars Legion, Song of Ice and Fire, stuff like that. They love the Mycroft. So that's wonderful. We have wonderful Mycroft backers. But anything, once we get past 48 inches, everything changes. The engineering changes, the stability of the floor changes, the support structure of the aluminum is different. The wood, now we have these beautiful premium walnut available. We had a lot of people saying, can't you do luxuriant product like you do with your Watson and Holmes? We went to work on it, but 4-foot lumber acts different than 3-foot lumber, especially when you're cutting it in small 1/4 inch, by 3-inch strips. So we don't want it to warp. There's different processes. There's a lot more that goes into it than just saying, yeah, let's do it. Well, that's why it's taken us as much time as it is. Last year was horrible, obviously, with so many delays. And we were planning on doing our Kickstarter last October, but pandemic and everything that we had to deal with regarding that just put us way behind on all kinds of stuff. We're not Amazon where we can just have all kinds of engineers just jump and make something happen. Long and short of that, we're working hard on that design so that support structure will be solid enough, and I feel confident that it will work. And I need to test it. We need to do some stress testing. We need to do a big part of the equation has to do with packaging. Well, that's the same thing with the dining covers. 4-foot material is a huge problem because of waste. Generally, in the product we're using, we're not getting it in the 5-foot sheets, 5 foot high, and by 10 foot. We're getting it in a 4x8. So doing what we need to do with the size of the templates, it's complicated with the blanks that they cut to do the routering. And it becomes very expensive, cost prohibitive. So we're looking at ways to fix that, and it just takes a lot of time. So when those products are released, which we expect first quarter of 2022, I'm sure we should be all done with our fulfillment from this Kickstarter. Then we will be going to Kickstarter 4. Long answer to give you a little bit of insight of how long it takes for us to maneuver. But as we get bigger, as our company continues to grow, we're going to be able to bring more people into the equation so that my hands aren't on everything. And likewise, Josiah manages a lot of our company really brilliantly. Super proud of what he does for our company and the shipping logistics. But we hope to grow so that we can do more and more cool things. So that's why your support, honestly, is so needed. Making this product, I don't get to just buy, 10,000 pounds of aluminum. I got to buy 30 or 40,000 pounds of aluminum, and it's a huge expense. You wouldn't believe we don't double our money on the toppers themselves. It's a different product, and we really do need everyone's support so that we can make this happen.
Rapid fire question 1 done.
Not known for being concise.
Joseph asks, will it be possible to swap anything in the Scotland Yard package? Example, a single cup holder for the dice tower.
Those kind of questions give us heartburn. Gives Josiah heartburn. The way I'm joking about it, but whenever we deviate from what we have planned, it really does become a really big problem. It's not that we don't want to. It's that we have designed packaging extremely thoughtfully with a lot of processes to ensure safety. Our product has to deliver well. Our game topper package boxes that allow us to store the components inside the topper, it's designed in a way that supports the two halves of the topper, but also becomes a package for the accessories. So when we switch that out, it changes everything. The packaging that we use is very expensive. We spend almost $35 assembled each one of those boxes just for the box. But it's because of all the things that we do, the wonderful things that he does. I just watched The Wizard of Oz the other night. You guys can probably tell, right?
Yep.
And I liked it. So the answer is there's very little that we can make changes to. And we really, it's too hard when we're doing fulfillment for so many people to try to go in there and do one. That's where we would make mistakes. And I don't want to make mistakes. I want to deliver everything quickly, efficiently, and get everything that we've promised. Also, we've costed everything in a way to make those packages so affordable. You're saving hundreds of dollars buying it that way. The packages are by far the best deal.
Nacho Average Game Table or Tabletop asked, does the table size matter for the game topper?
Probably asking what size of under table.
I would think so, yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, yes. So we have sizing charts on our Kickstarter page. The game toppers sit over your existing table, and they have a cross support system underneath that allows them to actually overhang whatever table they're on. So we generally recommend not more than 9 inches overhang on each side. That allows to make sure that you're getting enough support for those cross supports to be able to comfortably seat the game topper. So you have a lot of flexibility there because We have a number of different size game toppers, and they can all fit a variety of size tables. So, well, another question we often get is like circular or oval shaped tables.
Yep.
And the same thing goes with that, where those cross supports on the underside, as long as they're on your table, they provide the support that you need.
And they're sitting on top of your table. They're not wrapping over your table. Some people think it's kind of like it's wrapping over, and that's not the case. It's actually sitting on top and kind of cantilevering over. And that's really one of the design decisions we made that allowed for the stability of the floor, allowed for the visual acuity. Your floor, you know, some folks like a deeper gaming vault, for instance, if you're playing, but a lot of people don't like that. And Jamie and I, in fact, Jamie doesn't like that at all. And I agree wholeheartedly. When you're looking down in a 3-4 inch deep vault, your neck, your posture, everything is down. Now, if you're standing up, it's a different story. Then you're doing it with support. But for regular gaming, my dedicated table does have that deeper vault, like we saw everybody make. I honestly don't prefer it. The visual acuity of this 1.5 inch vault, not only does the floor become stable and do what we were just talking about, it allows you to see your game so well. And the rail height, everything about what we're doing here, you can play a 3-hour game and not feel any back fatigue. People mention that all the time. Well, that was deliberate.
Travis asks, if I purchase a dining cover but don't purchase the additional bag, how will it ship and will it arrive safely?
Great question. We are looking at both packaging solutions, so we will assure that either way it gets shipped safely. We would highly recommend the bag. This bag is super high quality. It has separate panels in between each one. And while this is a very durable material, the powder coat surface does have a bit of texture to it. And if you were to be sliding those on top of each other over a long period of time, you could see some marring of the finish if you don't put, something in between them. That was one of the design elements of that bag. That bag is going to be unlocked, and it's normally a $69 or $79 bag. It's going to be unlocked for $39. But if we can hit some numbers, everybody, I'm going to do some crazy special stuff. You have not seen all the stretch goals. You should see my list. So if we can get some momentum here and get through some of these goals in the last 4 or 5 days, things are going to ramp up. We know that. We have a huge marketing campaign for the last few days. We know how this works, but right now is a real critical time for us to really push, to share all of these things that we're doing and the excitement. If you own a game topper, man, show pictures of it and say, hey, go check out the Kickstarter. That would really help us, would be greatly appreciated. And likewise, that'll allow us to give back even more. So stay tuned on that bag that's going to be unlocked shortly.
Eric says, love my Cabal Red mat. Use it a lot. Would like to get the Cabal Blue to go with that one for a set. Is the blue still around somewhere?
Yes. You can go to our clearance store at shop.gametoppersllc.com. Because Jamie came out with the new blue crest, we decided to discontinue the blue War Cobra. It's beautiful. There's not a thing wrong with them. We discounted them pretty significantly. There's not very many left. So if you want one of those, go ahead and grab it. There's some of our older style mats in there too.
Okay. So Travis asks, approximately how thick is the dining cover bag with the dining cover in it? I have a space between my calyx and wall I'm hoping it fits into.
We are... part of our meeting today is discussing the option for owners that have the XL leaf that they want a dining cover too, to cover it in an XL form, not just the Watson standard, but Watson XL, Holmes XL. We were trying to do a 24-inch solution that causes a whole bunch of problems. I won't bore you with all the details, but it's undoable. mostly because of waste and production and cost and packaging. But we came up with another idea that actually solved a couple of other problems. So when people have an XL with half of their topper, like the 3x5 table or the Adler or the Watson with a 24-inch extension on half of their table, this new design is by adding two 12-inch pieces that we think we'll be able to add as a separate add-on item for you. We're going to incorporate that into the current bag, a prototype that we have. That's going to add, it's going to add just about an inch and a half to the dimension of that bag. Right now, I think it's about 3.5 inches or maybe 4 inches, the bag in its thickness. The outside dimension of it is like 44 inches, and the new bag will be probably about 18 inches, I think, wide.
Yeah, and it'll probably be a bit thicker because there's more sections.
Yeah, there'll be 2 more sections, so it'll probably be about 5 inches, maybe 6 even, just to be safe. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Gil says, Yoy had one sharp knife the other day. Will it cut through a game topper? Not sure. Maybe that's you had one sharp knife the other day, or I don't know. If it's a name or a typo.
You had one sharp knife the other day. Will it cut through a game topper? He must have saw us on a podcast doing something. I don't know what that would have been. Will it cut through a game topper?
So a sharp knife would cut through a mat, but you're not going to cut through a topper.
You're not going to cut through a topper.
So, Chris Mai
Thanks,
asks,
Gil.
Berkey, I've got a wormwood table. Any chance game toppers would make a mat size for them? I'd venture a guess quite a few of the 7,000 backers would love to get a game topper mat for it.
Well, that's a great question, Maui. Wormwood makes some beautiful products. It's really not my style to encroach on another company's product. So we make a 3x5 mat because we have a Lestrade with a 24-inch extension leaf that people can convert to a 3x5 size. And that became very popular. So we have these 3x5 mats that some of my competitors have a 3x5 table. That was kind of unintentional in a sense. So it's not really my style to do that. I would want to get permission from Wormwood and talk to them about that. They offer a really nice quality product. I'm definitely open to it, but I'd have too much respect for them to just do that without that being a little more thoughtful. And we're offering so many mats right now and so many styles that it gets hard. You get 20 styles, and then I have to add three more sizes. I got 60 extra SKUs in my warehouse. Every time these thoughts come up, it's always, I have to really analyze it.
But depending on the size you're looking at, we might have something that's close.
Yeah, we might have something close. Yeah.
Chris Goodlet says, I love all these updates and videos. Berkey playing on the Watson all day tomorrow.
Woohoo! Chris Goodlet, the charity board game. Chris, that guy is so busy, man. He's interviewing, just seems like hundreds of industry people. I don't know if he has the time for it, man. I hardly ever get to watch anything anymore because I'm so busy with stuff. But every now and then I'll see his post, and he's got some famous board game person on the phone on his show. You check him out at the Charity Board Gamer.
I'm also sensing some persistence here, as Chris says, crazy special stuff. I think when you were mentioning stretch goals, Berkey's mouth-watering seasoning and Berkey jerky pledge? Question mark.
I've thought about that. I have a spice company called Burke's Happy Mouth Signature Spice. 14 premium spices. Sweet Hungarian paprika, toasted granulated onion, granulated garlic, black pepper, kosher salt, a little bit of cayenne pepper to kick it up a notch, and 7 Italian aromatic seasonings. And it's great on chicken, fish. So a lot of people have come to know me because I've given out some of my spices to people. And I've thought about this a little bit. Because this comes up a lot, actually, and I wondered if people would like it. It would be a big deal for me to make 500 pouches. They come in these really cool little 3.5 ounce pouches and 1 pound pouches. I mean, we use it on everything. The kids use it on popcorn. It's just a great all seasoning. I used to cook professionally, and it's been one of our favorite spices. So I don't know. We'd have to hit a big number to make me do that. Let's put it that way. People have been talking about if we hit $1 million, what happens to Berkey's beard? And they even talked about my head.
I think we're all caught up on questions. Trent says, all for more Happy Mouth.
Yeah, Trent's a happy customer of Happy Mouth. Well, we can linger just a few more moments to see if we have any other questions.
Chris says, nothing to the beautiful beard.
Nothing
please.
to the beautiful beard.
It'll go back.
It'll grow back.
It always does.
It's only been going since November. So. Well, I'll talk real quickly about just a couple things that are happening right now. We are almost at the place of unlocking the J.J. Burkton 4 mat rack bundle. Man, you'd never know how much time Josiah and I spent on this J.J. Burkton bundle and the Lord Burkton bundle that will be unlocked at $600,000, because we had so many backers that said, can you give us a dozen mats? Can you give us 6 mats at a discount? It's good and it's bad. It's like for us to manage the volume, to manage the costing of making that work well. Of course, we want to sell more mats, but it's a little bit more than that, because then all of a sudden we have weights. Our mats are heavy, so we have to figure out packaging solutions. We have to think through a lot of different things. And then the mat racks, we have a limited supply of them, and people are loving the mat racks. So it's like we don't really have to give them away. We don't make much on them anyway. That's the real problem. They cost us a lot to make. We made those domestically here, right in the United States, in Minnesota. And yeah, sure, you betcha, right in Minnesota. And they're great, but they cost a lot of money. So like, how do we make this a win for everybody? And we ran through a ton of numbers. We had to limit it to 4 sizes so that we could actually make that happen. And we did some crazy benefits to you guys. This was our way of saying thank you for all the support. We're gonna really make it super attractive. You almost get a free mat out of that whole deal. I mean, it's a big deal, because you could buy just the double mat bundle, which is a great deal. I think our regular prices are a good deal. So then you get 4 of the mat storage bags on top of it. The Lord Burkton, you almost get the mat rack free. It's like, it was a really good deal. After this Kickstarter ends, we're not going to have it anymore. It's if you want that, you're going to want to pledge for that in the late pledge manager right away, because then that's going to go away. This is our way of saying thank you, and we want to offer you something really special. And so that's the one thing I put in the update. I noticed we have also have the double rail bundle. People love our rail bundles. The rail bundle gives you the accessory rail. It gives you the smaller mat. So if you have a Holmes, half of it is the Lestrade. So you need that 36-inch rail to convert half of your Holmes into a Lestrade. But then you need a 36-inch mat. Well, you've got 2 halves. Why? This is the first Kickstarter we did. And they said, well, can't you make a double mat bundle? I have 2 halves. Yeah, duh. Why didn't I think of that? Of course I can. And 60-70% of the people bought the single or the double rail bundles. People love doing this. And now this is great too, guys. The rail package, this is the exact same rail with the card slot. It has the C channel. It's leg kit compatible. You can make 2 small toppers and just get two of just the leg kits. And you can have 2 small portable tables. I mean, it's so cool, the versatility and the discount that we put in on that double rail bundle. I think Raymond had mentioned it. It's fantastic. And we have another stretch goal where you're going to get the double rail bag. This is a padded bag with a center padded support to protect both of your rails. This is like a $40 bag that if that gets unlocked, you're going to get it free with that double rail bag bundle. That's already a really good deal. So that's awesome. Take a look at that. If you haven't seen what that can do for versatility, you'll love that.
Rick says, hey guys, was curious if the dining covers might become available for the smaller sizes like a Lestrade.
We don't have a packaging solution to break it out like that right now. We also have a lot of people asking, hey, can we just buy the end piece so that they just have that big shelf? The answer is probably yes. The bigger question is, how do we incorporate it into this campaign, into this backer kit survey solution? And that's going to be really tricky, to be honest. We've got to stay in our lane so we do what we do well. And then we can modulate and make some adjustments. If I can do those mid-campaign adjustments, I will, obviously. We want to make it as easy for everybody and help everybody any way we can. That one's a little tricky, and the biggest issue is packaging and how we're going to have those kitted. When that product comes in, or if we have that kitted where it's being manufactured, it'll be really hard to break out parts. Essentially, you're just going to need the two end pieces to do what you're asking. So we will look at that. More than likely, the answer is yes.
You get a Holmes is what you do, because the Holmes, you have the two ends and then one of the 12-inch sections there.
That's the better answer, probably. Yeah, it's yes, you can do it right now, but you're going to have two extra pieces if you don't have a Holmes.
Chris asked, how did you like Aquatica? We enjoyed it here because it's over there. But if you could really notice it, it's still in shrink. So
it's still in shrink, and then we have the expansion. Yep, I have Aquatica in the bottom here. I don't know if you can see it.
You have it over there too.
That's the expansion. Yep.
Oh, that's the expansion.
This is the Aquatica, and it's in shrink. We just got it yesterday, so we haven't had time to play it. But I love Arcane Wonders games. I love how I've got the new Four Gardens just came in from Arcane Wonders too. So we hope to get that on. We're going to put that bad boy on the pirate mat or the Viking mat, and we're going to have a lot of fun. I'm hearing really good things about it.
Jonathan says, I have a Watson and a double rail bundle, so I could make two Hudsons. I know it was briefly mentioned that you could possibly split the Watson dining cover between the two Hudsons.
It's a great question. The answer is yes, but the two end pieces on the Hudson, the math doesn't work out perfect on the Hudson. It works out way better on the Holmes. So it won't go all the way over to the edge. It's really close, so it'll cover the vault. But then you still have the other two, or you'd have the... Essentially, one Hudson would be fully covered, and the other Hudson, I think, would be... slightly short, unless you had the XL 1 foot leaf.
Yeah, I'm just thinking 30, trying to do quick math. Yeah, so actually one would have the rails exposed, and then the other would be using the three 12-inch sections, and that would actually cover the whole thing, but you wouldn't have the corner rounding. It would be straight.
Yeah, the side of the table will have the one chafer, but the other two edges would have the sharper edge. So it's not a perfect solution in that scenario. So if you really want two Hudson covers, you really need to buy two Watson covers.
Yeah, and it still wouldn't work perfectly. But with the one Watson cover, you can cover the vault at least.
Yeah, we find most people, honestly, aren't really covering the smaller stuff. That's usually a quicker type of gameplay, but there are options there. On the Holmes, it works really well with the math after our new design here. So we'll be putting out some XL dining gaming cover options on the Kickstarter stretch goals shortly. Hannah's actually working on those graphics right now, and I'm still getting costing.
Pasha says, I'm getting the Holmes, Viking, and Odin bundle. Will it be possible to get a second accessory rail? If not, are the standard oak and walnut compatible? Standard
oak and walnut are compatible. It's the exact same mold. just the top wouldn't match. That's a question that you'll have to ask me after the pledge manager. We have enough to do one for each backer. That doesn't mean every Viking or dragon sculpted pledge is getting the Odin bundle. So there's a possibility that I may have some. I have some extra material that's not perfect that I could make. We pulled out those sticks because they just had some flaws or whatever, and I'm kind of picky about that. So there'd still be a way for us to do something and help pretty good. So email us after the pledge manager, and we'll do whatever we can to help.
Digital Heartbeat says, how does the Homes Viking bundle work? I don't see the package deal in pledge levels. Is that in the pledge manager? So I'm not sure if we have any. Are there any of the pledge level left still in the Viking Homes?
I think there's 3, if I remember right.
So it would be down near the bottom of the pledge levels, and there's the topper pledge for the topper itself. So you'd get the Homes Viking topper. And then we have the Odin bundle, which is an accessory bundle that gets you the accessory rail, the smaller mat, a set of cup holders. And so that Odin bundle will be something that you will add on in the pledge manager. Now, you can still add to your pledge total in Kickstarter to help us reach more stretch goals. And then anything extra that you had added pledge money-wise will go into the pledge manager as a credit that you could use to add the actual Odin bundle.
It's really great the way the system works, and the questions that get answered in the pledge manager and even in the backer kit. Sometimes there's little pull down menus that you can add things style wise, but it's a really neat feature of backer kit that really puts you in the driver's seat to make all the choices you want. And if you want to spread the dollar amount between Kickstarter and late pledge, you can do that. If you want to put it all in one lump right now and get it out of the way, whatever.
Chris says, playing Four Gardens tomorrow. Love the look of the tower and how it affects the panorama resource gathering in the game.
Oh, it's gorgeous. I want to play that on our Great Wall mat. I think it'll be totally cool thematically.
Digital Heartbeat says, super helpful. Thank you. Jonathan asks, I previously got the acrylic cover on the Watson to serve as a cover. So would the new dining cover work with the acrylic cover on, or would it make the acrylic cover obsolete?
That's a great question. The first design of our prototype of our dining cover, we had it slightly recessed into the vault. So there was a back cut. We found that not only does that lessen the amount of space, we wanted to give as much space as possible in between the vault. So we've eliminated that back cut, which raised the topper so it's flush across the top. So that should allow you to, because your acrylic cover that's sitting inside is flush with your topper. Now, if you had like 2 game mats in your topper vault and then put the cover on top of that, that would raise it above the rail. So you'd only want to, they're designed to only have 1 mat with the height of those acrylic covers. Those worked really good. A lot of people like those. They were a horrible item for us to ship. We were able to ship them inside the toppers, but outside of the toppers, not so great. We have about 6 or 7 of them left, I think. People actually really like them. You can flip them upside down and you can dry erase mark on them. But they were kind of expensive, and honestly, people can buy plexiglass or acrylic, at their local Home Depot. The whole point of trying to offer that for people was to help people, their pets not jump on the table and ruin their game and things like that. But this dining gaming solution provided us so many more options with creating, especially with our leg kit, so that it could be a dining surface. It could be that extra table that you can put a mat over to play even bigger games. It could be that DM shelf. All of those things made this a better solution, I think, than the acrylic cover. And but you should be able to use it.
Looks like we're caught up.
Well, this has been awesome, everyone. We're at $500,000 almost. It's remarkable. We're so grateful. We really have desires and dreams to hit $1 million. So it's like we're doing awesome, and I cannot thank you much, but we still have a ways to go. And I want to encourage everybody. If we can hit some bigger numbers, I'm going to do more and more and more to give back and help add value to the packages, offer more products. We have a couple things we haven't even revealed yet, couple things that are in the works that I'm still waiting on some pricing. Getting pricing this year has been the worst experience I've ever had as a manufacturer, because there's all kinds of issues going on with supply and demand and costs, and even getting quotes sometimes. So we're working diligently, but it just always takes more time than what you hope. And I try to plan way ahead, but we're hoping we're going to be able to reveal a couple things, and we're hoping that we can add more value back. So let's make this thing go to the moon. And with that, all the Cabalists, thanks for joining us on the show and entertaining with Jamie. He's always so much fun. Check out his Kickstarter coming up June 2nd, a Secret Cabal Gaming Podcast. And we are going to do a bunch of Q&As just like this with special guests coming. And we have another episode of this, another Game Toppers Live on Monday. And drawing a blank on the time. I think we have it I'll put it in an update. Sorry here, dead space. On Monday, we're going to be doing it at 3:30 Central Standard Time. That's 4:30 Eastern Time. And we have with us Mark Maya from Board Game Coffee from Canada joining us. He's a topper owner, loves what we're doing, and he's also a media creator with his Board Game Coffee channel. He's going to be joining us on Monday. And then on Wednesday, May 12th, we have Rory Veranda from Empire Board Game Library in Albuquerque, New Mexico. He's a retailer. He's a big gamer, well known in the community there with the Dukes of Dice and BJ from Board Game Gumbo, all those folks down there. He's an avid gamer, mountain bike rider. The guy's amazing, and he bought a bunch of toppers for his store, and it has proven to be a huge boon for him. This last year has been horribly challenging, but he's starting to open up, and this is working perfect for him. And he wanted to talk about it. So we have him coming Wednesday at 1:00 Central Standard Time. And then next Friday at 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, noon Mountain Time, we're doing a live Q&A with Mark Streed from the Dice Tower and Board Game Corner. Super fun stuff. The following week, we have a couple more. So we're going to have more of this. I hope this is helpful, and I hope it's entertaining too a little bit, and gives you a little insight of who we are as people and what we're doing as a company. Again, everyone, thank you so much. We'll see you Monday.